Let's do it. It's a new old EP, new to the world, old to me. So this was a project that was completed in 2021. Yeah, man, it's a story EP about a love gone bad. Massive vibe, great production. I think personally probably my best like actual writing as a whole. Starts off sweet, goes real sour in 5 songs. So it's a story, man. This was an idea that me and fellow producer of mine had an idea to make an EP telling a story, and the story was called The Garden. Now, this is also like, what do they call it, a metaphor or something like that, where basically, it's like entering the garden, very sexual, I understand. However, that's the story, but it could be two different ways. Garden of Eden was the idea that we were basing it off of. So, you go in, snake, apple, all that shit goes downhill. We're gonna live stream every session. So we made the whole EP on Instagram Live. Every session was live from start of the beat to finishing of the vocals in the same session. So that was the idea of it at first. Then Kamo met this guy named Mark. It's actually an incredible old school dude, did a lot of work. Kamo met him, and Kamo approached me, was like, yo, what if we made this like a live production album? We'll take my melodies, have him add the drums, and do a little extra producing on the records. I was like, I trust you, so let's do this shit. So we went, I told Kamo set up a meeting with Mark. We went to Mark's house, we played him the EP and showed him the idea. I think we had like 2 or 3 songs finished on the EP at this moment. Mark was like all the way on board, man. Like Mark was so hyped, dude. Like 2 young dudes coming to work with him. He never worked on like hip hop, nothing like that. So we're like, all right, cool. So we would send Mark the melodies and all my vocals and stuff. And Mark would rearrange and like executive produce it and add drums, horns. My man added like everything you could think of, which turned out to be absolutely lit. Added a real cinematic version to the EP. So we had 2 different versions of the EP. Now that's when it gets kind of weird. Anyway, so basically what happened was we had a whole film, an art film being drawn up to this EP as well by Clint Collins, my brother. Shout out to Clint. He's an incredible dude. He was working on it so hard that it made us look like we were working like shit. And that was like kind of the crazy thing, is because we were working really hard at doing this. Like everybody was busting their ass. Every week we were trying to put this together. Clint had like 3 scenes done with it, and then some shit went down in Clint's life to where like he had to take a pause, and like that kind of like stung a little bit in everybody's drive, and I could feel each branch just like falling as it. I'm not saying it's Clint's fault, but like that was like the start of it. So while Mark goes and like busts his ass, Mark basically masters everything. Now it came to a point where I was like, I love how the record sounds, I love the production, but I hate how my vocals sound. So I didn't want to clear it from then, but I gave an alternative. I was like, hey, if we can get the masters of the production, I'll recut my vocals and then I'll have Jovan work on it. Jovan even came to the session and was like, cool, I'm in on the project. Well, I don't really know exactly what happened. I just asked one simple thing, like getting the master of the production. Never got it. Like, so I don't know which side wasn't willing to do it, whether it was like Kamo or whether it was Mark. I don't know if Mark felt like I just busted my ass mastering these records and now you don't like the master, but Mark knows how that goes. He's been in the music industry for fucking 60 years or something. So I don't know, man. The masters were never gotten for the live production EP that we were gonna do. It kind of sat as an afterthought forever. That was like the beginning of 2022. I'm gonna release the originals, which is what I'm calling the demos to this, right? Because we took our demos to Mark and had it redone. I had to do a lot of, we were working on this in 2021. That's almost 3 years ago, bro. I had to do a lot of remixing and mastering myself, and I was lucky to find, because my laptop died, right? But I was lucky to find on my Google hard drive, I found vocals and stems to everything. Well, some beats didn't have the stems, so I was just working with one master wave file pretty much. I was like, you know what, man? I've been telling like John and everybody close to me about this EP forever. I'm putting this shit out whether anybody likes it, anybody agrees or not. They can fucking come holler at me, sue me, whatever the fuck they want to do, but it's going on. So that's where I'm at now. I gotta put this shit out for me because I think it's my best work as a writer. This particular situation made zero sense to why it went left for whatever it did. I have no idea why. Because it really wasn't my idea to push it to the live version. I mean, that wasn't my idea at all. I had did my part. I recorded the records right there, you know what I mean? So I don't know, bro. I know I'm the machine that puts it out, and I know it's my responsibility to put the music out and operate like a business. But you know, sometimes I sat on it for 2 years just kind of pissed because what we had literally could be one of the greatest things to ever come out of Orlando. I don't know anybody that did a live production independent. That is the wildest part about any of this, is that I've been in the city for so long. Shout out to I4 Chapman, shout out to D Strong. Yeah, man, that's what they're calling me, is the new sound of Orlando. In my eyes, and I think a lot of people's eyes, because a lot of people know who I am, like whether they like it or not. To me, it's like crazy because I came up with all of the OGs that ever did anything out of the city. They all co-signed on me, like whether it's like Alicio from Trill, Rob Campman, fucking West Fifth, John Young. I did a record with John Young before I even had a deal. They all co-signed on me. So like, to me, I was like, that's crazy. But how are like none of y'all talking about me? Like the blogs. I don't want every showcase you can win. Now they're adding everybody does a showcase now. But like back in like 2019, 2018, I was winning all of that shit. So what else was there for me to do to make people say, this guy's good, this guy's making moves? Chapman Ben knew about me, and me and Chapman were supposed to do some work, but when I was on the label, they were like, you don't really need that. I'm like, I don't know, man, Chapman's really making motion, and me and Chap had that conversation. But like, now that the city's like seeing it and hearing it, is like, oh, that makes sense, because I know what they're gonna try and do. They're gonna say, oh, this is commercial, this isn't the city. I'm more of the city than anything, so I just embraced that shit. Yeah, I did a show with Fly. That was the crazy thing, is like, I said I was not doing any more shows out here unless it was some dope shit. You know what I mean? Like some real dope shit that I wanted to be a part of. Yeah, and Ace over at Fly, he was like, bro, you know, he puts on these little shows, these little intimate shows for his brand. I was like, bro, I went in from the first time I seen it. So yeah, I did the show. Antiques, that was lit. It was a vibe too, massive vibe. It's like the first record is like the amazement of like when you meet a chick and she allows you into her life to do whatever, you know, whether it's PG-13, X-rated, or, you know, mature, who knows, whatever that is. But it's like, you know, that honeymoon phase, you're like in love and shit. That's the first and second record. The second record is called A Heaven. So, you know, you're living in heaven and everything's beautiful, everything's great. Now, the third record is where it gets a little weird. There's both sides to it, and you start to realize that as you're going through this, like, okay, this could be heaven or this could be hell. I'm not really sure right now, but I'm riding with that shit. And then when it reaches the fourth song, you pretty much realize that you are fucking in hell and she is a demon. So whether that means she's a bad person or like she's got you so entangled that you just can't get out of there, that's called a Am I Safe? Then the fifth one, you're pretty much dead, man. Like, it's over with. She's got you in her grip and she's leaving, and it's called Send Me Away. Like, get me the hell out of here, please, God, dear Lord, take me away. So yeah, man, it's a fucking journey, bro, and I can't wait for you guys to hear it. I do got a song named Journey, produced by the one and only the GOAT, SB Killa. Massive vibe, big tune. Yeah, that's on an EP that we did for the Win Music. It's a lot of sync music, movie music, commercial music, sports music, all that good shit. 2023's been nuts, bro. As far as sync placements and everything, you know, we started off like kind of little with like the Baddies Out West shit. Was really crazy to me because like that's my first ever like TV placement. And then we got a Hallmark movie, which is insane too. Like, a Hallmark movie is kind of legendary if you ask me, bro. Like, your grandmother watched me and heard me on her fucking TV. That's pretty lit. Might be weird, but it's kind of lit. That was off my first EP that I dropped on the label this year. Then we dropped our second one, and then we went crazy on that. Baddies East with 3 straight episodes. Shout out to Through for that. What else did we do? Oh, we got a Sports Center one with Through, which was nuts because that was like old. That was an older record. Then we got the MLB Network like 4 or 5 times this year, which is kind of crazy too. Like, I grew up watching that shit, you know what I mean? I always wanted to be a baseball player, but now you can hear my music on the baseball channel. know, there's options to your route, bro. It's a journey, dog. But yeah, bro, it's been insane, man. Hopefully I'm just gonna elevate next year and keep it rolling, dog. Next year, I think right now where I'm at is like we're boiling water. So I think the main thing for me is to keep consistent right now and keep working, keep going hard every day, recording, and just keep putting out music, because I feel like it's boiling over at any moment. I don't think that necessarily I'm in charge of that anymore. I think right now it's just up to when it happens and when the world decides that it's gonna happen. So I just gotta stay consistent and keep grinding, bro. I've been under the standard before where, like, when I was on the label, it was like, you need to record one song every single day. And I hated my life, because like when I make music, it's necessarily not about quantity or making a million records. It's more about making the right records. So for me, I don't even think about recording music unless I'm feeling it. So I don't really give a shit how many records I cut a week, you know, how many records that I have. I just know that whenever I feel like making music, I'm going to make music, and I'm perfectly fine with that, because it's gonna be some real raw, you know, energy stuff. So I'd rather just float that way. I could just drop music and not record ever again for like the next year, but I'm not gonna do that, obviously, because it's my passion. This is what I do to save my life, you know what I mean? So no standards, dog. Just do it when you want to and when it feels right. Yeah, so December 8th 2023, The Garden, The Lost Demos drops. Pawn Your Head Top, big tunes. Yeah, man, by Aaron Becker, which is me. That's the songwriter name that you'll see at the bottom of each song. It's gonna say Aaron Becker. Yeah, it's gonna be fucking flame, dog. I'm not sure anybody else is gonna post about it but me, but that's the vibe anyways, baby. I'm really excited for you guys to hear this. I fucking love you.